back to the pod you're looking for. I'm Sam, and this is Josh, and the boys are back from vacation.
The boys are back in town.
The boys are back in town.
We're so back.
To the people, it's only been 2 days because we've been putting out all these reels and everything and shorts and everything. But we just spent the last week in Cape Cod.
It's felt like way too long since we've been back, dude.
I know.
But it was needed.
How hard is it for you to get back from a vacation and like try and get back into the grind? Are you the type that's like by the time you get back you're ready to be home, or are you like
yes?
Are you like 100%. Yearning for more?
100%. Usually I'm the guy that wants to get home, and like I like the aspect of on a trip that you're excited to go, and then by the time you get kind of done, you're like, okay, I want to sleep in my own bed here.
Right. You got your fill.
But with that said, it killed me because I had to leave a little early to get back for classes.
You what were you with us Wednesday to Sunday, and my family stayed until Wednesday, so it was Wednesday to Wednesday.
Dude, I go in, and I don't know if you felt it around here or saw it around here. It was like 95 and
so hot.
It was so hot, humid, and it was still kind of like a day.
Oh my goodness.
And I was sitting there walking into class. I had a big quiz that I was studying for. And I just knew you guys were sitting on the beach, and that really killed me, man.
It makes you feel really better. It was we were so blistered. My shoulder looked like a strip of bubble wrap. Like, it was awful. Like,
I don't think I've seen a worse sunburn that someone's had than what you did.
Your feet, dude. What is going on? You couldn't even put your feet in your shoes,
dude.
It looked like, you know, like those prosthetic feet, like in the movies.
Yeah.
There's like a stunt foot, and you're like, that's not his foot. That's what it looked like.
Dude, and it's still bad. It's been like a week.
So it's not swollen anymore. It's just red.
Yeah, it's really red. I did sore. Like the old trick of pulling the skin too early, and I think it messed me up.
Was it like? So. I don't know. Do we get into this? Or
no. I don't know. It's a little graphic, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, we're back though.
We are back.
We're back and we're back at it.
There's
a lot to talk about.
There is.
We got. This is the week of Independence Day, so we're hoping to put this out the day we record, which is today's Friday. So we're hoping to get this out. We got Jurassic World this upcoming week. We got F1 just came out. I don't know if we're seeing that in theaters, but we will check that out at some point.
Yep.
We will talk about it. We got Ironheart just dropped.
Dude.
Which may be the perfect segue into our galactic transmissions. We only have two, because we've got a chock-loaded... We are full to the brim with topics today. We got so much to cover. But I feel like with the Ironheart coming out, Phase 5 closing out, Phase 5 is officially wrapped with Ironheart.
Is that real?
It is real.
Okay.
Ironheart is the closing chapter of Phase 5.
What a good way to end.
Nothing I'd rather have us be ushered into Phase 6 with the multiverse saga ending than Ironheart. So why don't you walk us through? We have a little bit of a report. We haven't seen. It must be said. It must be said. We haven't seen a lick of Ironheart. I don't even think I watched the trailers.
No. Dude, I'm a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie. There was part of me that was really hoping to come into this episode and surprise you and say I had watched all three. I started the first episode.
Are they long episodes? Are they like 4
hours? Like 45-ish. Are they like 45, 50?
They're not chopped up?
No, and I started the episode, and I was really excited to be able to like kind of come in here and actually have a real take on this.
Yeah. Well, we will. We'll check it out.
And I think we will check it out.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So
no.
I didn't get through. Didn't last longer than a minute. What I wanted to talk about with this is I've seen a lot of stuff online of people talking about Ironheart where the scores, if you've seen them, are really rough.
Yes.
They're really rough. Now, I'm seeing everyone say it's bad.
Now here's the... Okay. I don't want to talk over you.
No. Go.
I wonder how much of that is like review bombing beforehand.
That's exactly what I wanted to bring up.
Okay, my bad. Okay.
Do you think we're not giving some of these things enough of a chance? Because I've seen a lot of people say that, and I don't want to get into anything more than that, specific reasons why this project might be doing worse. And I don't think it's about anything to do with that. I think more people are just sick of Marvel seeing all these crappy shows come out.
Yeah.
And I think that's all it is. But do you think we're kind of gotten to a point where, and I know it's Marvel's own fault, but do you think we should be kind of cooling our jets a little bit on some of these things?
I do.
Okay.
I think in the past, you could not find a bigger advocate for review bombing for Marvel than me. I have been at the forefront.
You stepped up.
The forefront.
Yeah.
Like when Echo came out, oh my gosh, the second it was on Letterboxd, it was a half star.
But see, that's what I'm talking about. That's like the part of the problem, I think. I didn't watch it ever.
At the time, Marvel really needed change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like, if this is how we get them to do something different, like this is what we got to do. You never want to stoop to that level, especially because we love Marvel. But like sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
You got to wake them up.
And the fans don't pay for any of it. Like we're not funding these projects, so like we gotta speak our mind. And even if it is less to do with how good or bad Echo was, you're more touching on the fact that like it's just not a story you care to see told. You'd rather somebody like Blade that's been on the sidelines for whatever. But in the case of Ironheart, Marvel's turned a corner. Thunderbolts was great. Fantastic Four looks, at the very least, like it's going to be a 7 out of 10. So there's a part of me that's kind of like, at this point, the review bombing is a little petty. Like, it's clear that Ironheart was the last thing Marvel was pushing out that was like, by the time they decided to switch their narrative and switch their energy into like projects that were worth our time, like Ironheart was too far along to just shelf. So they like finished it out and completed it, edited it, and gave it to us. I feel like there's no point. You watch it. If you enjoy it, you rate it. If you don't, you give it honesty. But like I feel like at this point, like Marvel got the message and they're giving us good stuff now. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if it's necessary to review bomb something that's like literally just like the last remnants of like a previous age of Marvel that's not here anymore.
Right.
Like, clearly they've turned the corner. What do you think?
I just feel a little bad for, I don't know the actor's name playing Riri.
Dominique.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You can get there.
Thornton?
Okay. I wouldn't have pulled
While
that.
you're talking, I'm going to look this up.
I just feel a little bad for her because it's totally not her fault at all that the last taste in my mouth, the last things I've watched that have been Marvel shows that aren't named Daredevil, has been Secret Invasion and She-Hulk. Yeah. And I did watch both of those, so I can actually give a real opinion. And they were dreadful.
She-Hulk was horrendous.
Horrendous.
Oh my word.
So it's just tough because you feel bad because as much as I can kind of sit here and say it's for my entertainment, so I can kind of say what I want, I'm sure she put a lot of stuff into that and effort into that, and so it kind of stinks that people won't even give it a chance.
Yeah.
And will pretty much just go ahead and say it stinks because of the previous stuff. And I also think with that too, there's been a lot of people I've seen saying it's bad, but I've yet to really see a reason for why. So I'd bet most of the people saying that haven't even seen the show yet.
Yeah.
So you feel a little bad, and I hate to see it still that we're in a place that Marvel still has that kind of negative situation going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be watching.
Dominique Thorne.
Thorne, okay.
Close.
I think next week maybe we can touch on it. I don't know if I'll get to all 6 episodes.
We'll have Ironheart at that point. Yeah, Ironheart.
I think
will be
they
done.
drop. Yeah, they're dropping 3 next Wednesday too.
3 and 3,
Okay.
and then Jurassic
see.
World comes out. So
We'll
we got a lot.
We got a lot. Yeah, next July is really busy.
It sucks like you were saying because I think I saw a thing. She when the first Black Panther was being made, she actually auditioned for Shuri. So this girl has like really wanted to be in the MCU, and then she gets her shot, and it's kind of it's less at the fault of her and more like the big corporation, kind of just like slopping up a good story. But I don't know. It's just a bummer.
Yeah, it is.
It's just not what we need right now.
Did you see the video of her getting called from RDJ?
No.
He called her and like congratulated her on it, and it just made you feel a little like
I
don't know. It was a nice moment and cool for her, so it made me feel a little bad just seeing all the bad things coming from it. And maybe
you think that's paid? Do you think it's like paid promotion?
I don't know. I did wonder that a little.
We'll
bit.
give you money to call her.
Because
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. He said something like we'll all be watching tonight with like the whole rest of the world, and I was a little like.
Oh, he got paid.
Yeah. That was kind of when the line said. I was.
He's
like,
counting his hundreds of.
If he had said, I'll get to it when I can, maybe I was like, okay. Right,
yeah.
That's no.
Yeah,
so he probably got paid. Got paid. I did also want to touch on. I don't know if you saw this report at all, but that they are planning to do, and production has started for a Social Network Part 2. And I think they said it's going to be taking place around COVID time, and it's returning same director, being Aaron Sorkin. Do you like this? Are you happy with this? I remember watching the first one and feeling like I really liked the movie. I don't remember too much from it, but I remember thinking it was really impactful and interesting.
The bulk of Mark Zuckerberg's life that is worth being put in movie form, I would argue, is within the timeline of all the stuff that happened in his life after Facebook was created. Like, not that Social Network is an awesome movie, but like, there's a lot of story to tell with this guy. And especially like when we were talking like COVID times, like there's a lot that happened with Facebook, even like recently. In the last year, there's been a lot of movement with like AI and stuff, and Meta and all that stuff. And there's a lot of his life that I think would play out well in movie form. I don't know if it needs to be labeled as a Social Network sequel, though. I think you just say we're making a movie about Zuckerberg at this time in his life. I don't think you label it. I think labeling it as a sequel to Social Network is a mistake. I think that's a marketing mistake.
To their credit, I think they said it's not supposed to be a direct sequel.
Oh, it's not? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's not technically Social Network 2. It's just...
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it says part 2, but
Okay.
I remember seeing something in the report. So maybe that's on me. But anyway.
No. I mean, I've been seeing Social Network 2 stuff
It's probably
as well.
an error
So
of the notes.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's not. I doubt it's you. But I definitely think that the worst thing they could do is label it as a direct sequel. Because it's like... yeah, I don't know. I think from a marketing standpoint, I think Mark Zuckerberg is very polarizing, just as a person in real life. He's kind of been beloved by both sides at different times, and so there's no real specific audience that would see something labeled under that like Social Network brand, and would be like, oh, I Mark Zuckerberg's my guy, let me go see this. And I think if you labeled it more as like, this is what happened with Facebook at this time, and it's more like a movie following like specific events in maybe American tech history or something, rather than like Zuckerberg, I think you could attract a larger audience. I will also say I think the fact that sequels are so oversaturated, like we were saying, in the movie market today, I don't think that plays very well into this. I think that's why you have to kind of label it as something something else. I don't think. Yeah, I think just the word sequel exhausts people. So I think that the best thing they could do is just label it as, this is a movie that's covering Zuckerberg and covering Facebook at a different time other than the Social Network. It's not a sequel to the Social Network. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm glad to see that they're returning Aaron Sorkin back to direct it again. I think that for a movie like this, it's good to keep the same vision going
100%,
forward.
yeah.
I think this one came out, 2010, the first one? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think it'll be interesting to see what they have.
Yeah.
I'd definitely go see it. So
it's one of those things where it's a good idea. The first one, like off rip, it's like the Harry Potter remake that they're doing with HBO, where it's like you're seeing the cast rolling and you're like, oh, this is gonna be great. The first one's just better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know you're not a big Harry Potter guy, but like it's just kind of, I don't know. It's like if they redid Lord of the Rings. Like, I'm sure there are people within the movie industry that respect Lord of the Rings so much that if they ever redid those movies, I'm sure there would be like an audience for it. But it's like you go into it with the understanding that it's like, I don't know.
yeah.
Like there's no real point in trying to capture lightning in a bottle twice. I think you just kind of, I don't know. There's other stories to tell.
So last time we recorded, dude, we had touched on some news about potential Pirates 6 coming out.
We did. Orlando Bloom was talking.
He was talking. And now we're talking. So I had watched the first 3 Pirates with you a little while ago, like I think 2 years ago about. And now I have seen the 4th and 5th since the last time we
In
talked.
the spirit of being in the cave.
Yes, we saw them.
I showed you the last 2.
We did. So I have a lot to say. And now I think in collecting thoughts, I'm ready to talk about what a 6 could look like as well. Oh. But I did kind of want to cover the series as a whole, because we haven't talked about that yet much at all.
Yeah.
I do think we'll probably agree mostly on maybe a ranking of the movies and maybe what goes on through them, but I'd still like to go through a quick ranking. I don't know if you've got, if you want to hear mine maybe.
I have it off the top of my head.
Off the top of your head,
Off
okay.
the top of my head. Can I intro this entire Pirate segment?
Yes,
with
please.
my take.
Please. Okay.
I think and I'm going to look into the camera while I say this, so that everyone can know I'm speaking from
do
my
it.
heart. I have watched more franchises than I can count, more trilogies than I can put a number to. Pirates of the Caribbean, the first 3 movies, safely the greatest trilogy of all time.
Wow.
The greatest trilogy of all time. Safely. The greatest trilogy of all time.
Wow.
It is my favorite trilogy ever. Ever. And I love Lord of the Rings. I love the original trilogy for Star Wars. I love the Dark Knight trilogy. Safely.
That's crazy. Safely is crazy.
Safely
is crazy.
And it's just my favorite. Do I expect everyone else to feel like it's the best? No, and I know they don't. For me, it's safely my favorite trilogy of all time.
So, it's your favorite. Do you think it's objectively the best?
I think you could make that argument for Lord of the Rings.
Okay. So you're saying if you're just putting it up, your number one trilogy.
I'm saying if I'm sitting there and somebody asks my take and I don't have to worry about what anybody else thinks, I'm putting Pirates of the Caribbean at the top.
Wow. So you just don't care what anyone. Yeah.
No.
You're putting it out for the world.
No. yeah. I know. We don't
wow,
care.
That's a good
Lord of
segment.
the Rings. Lord of the Rings is it's like a 1A 1B situation. So I'll say Pirates and Lord of the Rings are 1A 1B.
Wow. I'd have to do a little list in my mind of what I think the best trilogies are, but I definitely don't think it's number one.
No?
Number one?
What's number one for you?
Well, I don't know. That's why I got to think carefully about that, but I think that might have to be a future segment we do here, right?
I think
best
so.
trilogies.
I think
Stay
so.
tuned.
Can be
Okay.
continued.
Is this where you lead me in to tell me then that you think the fourth and fifth suck?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you want to start us there?
Do we want to start with a ranking?
Well, okay. Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. We'll kind of do that. Because, little spoiler, that is my bottom two movies.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
It's really just the position that you put them in.
And it's like the first three, and then like somewhere
like miles.
There's a hole in the bottom of the barrel, and then you find the other two.
Yeah. Not even close.
Okay.
So I have in fifth, I have Pirates 4.
Okay.
Is that what you're working with?
Yes.
Okay. I have in fourth, I have Pirates 5,
Mm-hmm.
like we said. Third, I have Pirates 2, Dead Man's Chest.
Okay. I think I agree with you, but I know a lot of people who actually have that at 1.
And again, the gap. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
Can you? Because we probably won't touch on Dead Man's Chest much. Because a lot of the story that we want to touch on within these movies is the stuff that starts the story in the Black Pearl, and then how it closes out in At World's End. If I were to ask you like why you think people would put Dead Man's Chest at 1, could you think of some of like the elements of that movie that make it great that would put it up there?
I think it's just the intro of Davy Jones. I mean, he's incredible. The CGI that they do for him in 2006 is
so
unparalleled.
unbelievable.
That's incredible. I think also that's the intro. You see the Kraken come in. I'm trying to remember specifically. I remember loving the fight scene that they have on the island at the end. The three-way fight scene. Wheel. That's really cool. Yeah. The action's great. And I think that might be, I don't know if this is a hot take, that might be one of the better versions of Jack. Best movies portrayals of Jack.
Now you're talking.
So I think that's interesting. But I still think the problem with number 2 is it feels like one is a great intro for the character of Jack Sparrow, and it's probably the most rewatchable movie in the series, in my opinion.
2.
No, 1.
Oh, 1. Okay.
Yeah, 1.
Okay, I'm sorry.
1, the intro of him, most rewatchable in the series. I also think it just gets you to fall in love with it, and it's not super high stakes. It makes it easy.
Yeah.
3 is the build-up and culmination of everything. And I feel like the reason why 2 suffers a little bit is because it feels like while stuff does happen, and that's why I still think it's a very good movie, they do accomplish things and like big things happen to end it.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit like it's a setup for 3.
Yeah, okay.
And that's totally fine because again, the movie still in my opinion is a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's taking away from it. I just think the other 2 are a little bit better because of that.
Sure.
I don't know if that's how you feel. So is that your 3? The second one?
For a while it was my 2 because it was the one that I grew up watching the most. The first Pirates movie I ever watched was Dead Man's Chest.
Okay.
I literally remember the day we got that movie. We went to Target and they used to have like the bargain bin.
Yep.
And I remember my mom getting Dead Man's Chest for like $10, and or it might have even been cheaper. And we popped it in. And I remember just being like totally like mind blown and taken. And the next thing you know, like I'm playing the Lego game. The Lego game was huge also. Yeah, I just loved 2. The whole vibe of 2. I just feel like they capture the Caribbean atmosphere the best. You got like the Cannibal Island and the Kraken, like you said. All the stuff with Davy Jones and like it's his character is so disgusting. Like the sailors, like the barnacles growing on them, and they got like tentacles and all that. But it's so like the world is so lived in. But it's weird how grounded it feels. Like it feels like these are like people that actually like live at the bottom of the sea and crawl out, as opposed to like 4 and 5 when you get like Blackbeard controlling the ship with his sword and the ghost pirates, and it just kind of gets away from it a little bit. Like it's mystical enough to feel like you're being transported, but like grounded enough to feel like there's like a real like fear element whenever Davy Jones steps on, because it's not like some guy that you have to try and like take your suspense of disbelief like out of it to try and like believe that this character is actually right there. Like you actually believe, and that's also a testament to like the actual actors in the scene. Like you gotta imagine it's like hard to act as if there's like a kraken like wrapping its like arm around you. Like there's a lot of immersion that comes with like the actors in the set, like in the surrounding spaces, that like really kind of allow you to buy into like these things that are supposedly happening, like all these CGI. It's just like so ahead of its time. So I love Dead Man's Chest.
We were just talking about Jurassic Park, some of the older movies, and how it's a little more, you can kind of see through the points where you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's where they clearly had no clue of exactly what was going on. Anyway,
but 100%.
I think for 2 as well, I'm safely gonna say that Davy Jones is a lot better in 2 than he is in 3. Mm-hmm. And I also think that Davy Jones in 2 is the best version of any villain in the whole movies. So, in the second movie has the best villain and best story there with that, I think. I just really think it hinders from the lack of payoff at the end. Now, I know... Well,
that Barbossa twist at the end,
I know.
He walks down the stairs. Like, I that's something I wish cameras were around back then, so you could just like have those audience reactions, like the theater reactions that are on YouTube for that moment. Like that had to have been so unreal.
You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if maybe that's why it suffers a little more to me, because I think I had known that he comes back at that point.
Oh, okay.
Because when I was watching him, all 5 movies have been out.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing him in the posters for future ones.
Right.
So that's probably why a little bit that it took away from it.
That's a bummer.
So I wonder maybe how I would have felt if I had seen that completely spoiler-free. But
you watch like YouTube. I'll watch like YouTube reactors, like watching Dead Man's Chest for the first time, and like these are people that are like just getting into movies, so they don't like have the context of the posters or whatever. And like he walks down the stairs and like the jaw on the floor, like it's just like it's what you live for, dude.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
That's cool.
Yeah,
it is cool.
But I believe 3 for 2 is a good place for it.
Okay, so your third was
2.
Was
I'll put 2 there.
You're putting 2 there? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in the second spot, I have the first one, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Yep. Me too.
Again, such a cool intro for him. It's the same way I feel about Cap 1. It's probably the worst of the 3, in my opinion. Like, I'd rather watch... Well, I think Winter Soldier and Civil War are better, but I'd still probably rather watch it more often, the first one, than I would rather the other ones.
Yeah.
It's just, there's not many stakes, but it's just so fun.
Mm-hmm.
The whole intro is so cool.
Them being able to build a movie of that scale and with that quality off of a theme park ride is so like unprecedented. And at the time in the movie industry, like Disney working on that project and putting their money into it, like they were the laughing stock for a hot second. Mm-hmm. And then the movie came out and it was a complete like global phenomenon. And it was nobody had ever seen something like that before. Like, I mean, I think they had tried stuff like that before. I forget if that happened in the 90s or the 2000s, but like you had... Whether it happened before or after, like, you have, like, other attempts at it. You have, like, the Jungle Cruise movie with The Rock and Emily Blunt. You have, like, the Haunted Mansion movies. You have, I'm trying to think. There's just been all these different attempts to try and, like, recreate the magic of, like a theme park ride or like, a Disney IP into, like, a movie form, and it just doesn't work. And then this comes, and it's just, like, it was just the perfect storm of everything. You have Orlando Bloom before, like he was too big to take a role, and same with Keira Knightley, and And I remember like hearing stories about like Jeffrey Rush was like in on it from the start, and he was trying to get like Orlando Bloom in on it too, and Orlando Bloom was like potentially going to like turn it down, and then he found out that Johnny Depp had signed on and was going to give it a chance, and he was like, all right, well, if Johnny's doing it, I guess I'll do it. And then it's just like it's just the perfect storm of everything: story, music, spectacle, room to grow. It's like the way a franchise. It's the way you want your franchise to start. Like the story leaves something desired, but it's satisfying enough that if nothing ever happened again, like you'd be okay. And I genuinely believe that if nothing ever happened again with that series, if they had never made a sequel, like it still would be just as beloved. It's just a great movie.
I totally agree with that. Yeah. I rewatched the intro part again the other day, first like 30 minutes.
Yep.
Man, it's crazy how I don't notice the fact that it came out long ago, like at all.
Yeah.
Like it looks very good for its time. Mm-hmm. It's crazy, and it feels like they put a lot of actual effort in those movies, and so it's just nice to see. It's nice to see.
Do you ever get sad watching movies like that, though?
Yeah.
Because you're like, they just don't do it like that anymore.
They don't. Okay, so that means we both, and I'm glad we both have At World's End at the number 1, Pirates 3. Dude.
My goat. My goat. My goat.
My goat. I actually have a slight take about that movie.
Okay.
You really gassed that movie up for me when I was watching it.
Dude.
And I'll be honest. The main reason it's the number 1 is because of the last 45 minutes.
That's fine.
The beginning of the movie is fine. There's a point in the middle of the movie where it kind of is a little boring, and it feels like you're kind of slopping through it. Yeah. And there's a whole point where I think I saw the movie's like 2 hours and 50 minutes long, which I felt it in the middle. I really did. But at the same time, I remember thinking of that last scene as like a pretty short. It was like a nice way to end the movie. I didn't realize how long that whole scene is. Like that's how good it is. That I don't know if there's many. Like that's up there for me. That last whole fight scene is up there with like Endgame, all of them returning. Yep. Like it is like a top 10 scene for me in movies. Oh my goodness, the
one
music,
of the best final acts ever.
When they're going around. And they're swinging around. They're both up on the mast, dude. Oh my goodness, the music playing.
It's just perfect.
It's
I think that's my favorite movie score of all time. Is At World's End. I think it's my favorite final act of all time. The runner-ups being Return of the Jedi, Revenge of the Sith, Avengers Endgame. And I know that makes me sound like such a casual, just having like these big like movie franchises. But what are you gonna do?
That's what we're about.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Return of the King. I don't know. Like, what are you gonna do? Like all these like movies, they're popular for a reason. But I think it's my there's just so many favorite blank in this movie.
Yeah.
It just delivers. It just brings it all. What's weird to me is that it's actually rated fairly low on like Rotten Tomatoes, and like when it first came out, it wasn't rated that high because of what you were saying.
I'm sure
people were saying there's too much happening.
Yeah. If I had to give it another critique, it's the fact that there's so much switching sides. And I remember a couple weeks ago talking about Mission Impossible, and I said sometimes it gets a little annoying when you're like, I really don't even know who's supposed to be good right now.
Yeah.
Like, it was constant. And I know that's intentional. And that's a bit of, like, the reason it works okay, I think, is because pirates, that's, like, the whole point, right?
It is, but it makes it, I do understand, like, it makes it very hard for you to feel like you can root for many of the characters.
You just never know what's going on.
Right.
So if you take out, I think that suffers a bit from overstuffing it. I think they could have shortened it a little bit down in the middle there. Specifically everything with like the pirate lord scene.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot going on there. They dragged that scene out for way too long. Yeah. Where they're kind of discussing everything. I think they could have cut that down a lot.
Yeah.
And
where the Singapore pilot thinks
there's
she's
just a lot
Calypso
going
and all
on.
that.
Yeah.
And he like tries to kiss her and everything. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. But again, those last 45 minutes, man. That's the best Pirates gets in the whole.
And best it will ever be.
Yeah.
We think. Which leads us in.
Yes.
You've been so fired up about Pirates ever since you watched 4 and 5 that you actually put a potential storyboard together.
I did.
For Pirates 6, should it ever come out. Should the stars align. You have a script.
I have a script.
That you're handing free of charge over to Disney.
Free of charge. So I was in class, sitting there, and what was I doing? taking notes doing that? No. Absolutely not.
We do not do
I was sitting there thinking about pirates. So, what else would I do? I have this new movie, the 6th movie that I want to see, titled Pirates of the Caribbean: Murky Waters. Okay.
Is this a working title, or is this...
This is pretty official.
This is official.
This is pretty official. And it ties in. It ties in.
Okay.
So as a few sets for this movie, I think what we need to do to get back to the glory of the first 3, we're bringing Will and Elizabeth back.
Yes.
And I want them to be a big part of the movie, but I want there to be no confusion who the main character is. I want that to be Jack. Like 100%.
I like that.
And I think that's part of the problem is in the other movies it always felt like, oh, Will gets some great moments. This person gets some great moments, but Jack gets the moments. Mm-hmm. In the 4th and 5th, dude, he doesn't really get much at all. Like,
no.
That's the big problem.
And what sucks is Jack's actually supposed to be the main focus of those movies.
Yes, but he's not at all.
He just sucks.
He's not at all.
In the movies.
Yes. So that needs to happen. I also wanted to see that Jack at the end. Actually, I guess I'll get to that.
Okay.
So, for the setup, we leave off with Davy Jones appearing to Will, and then it almost looks like it's like maybe a dream kind of thing, but then part of the sea falls off.
This is the post-credits.
This is the post-credit, yes. So it's kind of like a weird line of, is he really there? Is he not? We're not sure. So I want the movie to start out with a similar scene to, I think, the beginning of 2, where you see ships kind of disappearing. Like, random things are just happening. And, like, a bunch of ships start disappearing. Like, it's, like, dark-lit scenes. It's kind of like, what's going on?
Okay.
It's going to pan over to Will. And you're going to see him start to have, like, visions of Davy Jones. And he's not sure what's going on. We're going to continue this going on of just a little shot of Will and Elizabeth going through it. We're going to have these visions keep happening, where Will realizes that Davy Jones is blaming Jack for everything that's happened. And he's going to go realize that he needs to tell Jack. So this is how we get the cross connection here, is from the visions from Will to knowing that this is the problem for Jack.
Okay.
It's then going to cut over, and again, we've had all this going on with Davy Jones, where you never see Davy Jones, but you know that he's probably behind all these things going on. We're going to cut over, and it's going to be the whole, all the pirate lords, who are headed by Jack Sparrow. They're going to be debating what's going on. Like, are they, like, there's going to be rumors of, like, is the Kraken back? Are we dealing with, like, they don't know yet. They don't realize it's Davy Jones. Mm-hmm. Will's going to finally come in, and he's going to tell them basically what's going on. Like, he's after you, Jack. And in similar fashion to the other movies, they're all going to turn on Jack. Mm. So we're going to get this cool scene at the beginning of 1 when, you know, he's escaping through the whole thing.
Yep.
We're going to get a similar flashback to that where he goes away from the pirate lords. He's running from them. He gets a cool moment, gets on the boat on the Black Pearl. He's sailing off while they're all sitting on the dock waiting.
Okay.
And he goes back to the line. The day
we've been missing this.
Yes, we have. See, that's the problem, man. They haven't used it.
Yeah.
You will remember this as the day you almost caught Jack Sparrow, dude.
Yep.
We need that back.
Yep.
So we're going to get that. And it's going to be revealed that through breaking the like the scepter, what was it called?
Trident.
The trident.
Yeah.
Through doing that, not only did it break those curses, but there was a lot of curses placed that unlock deeper, like darker, mystical creatures. Mm. So, like, in some ways, it gets rid of those curses that were maybe bad, but, like, also, like, the ones that were way worse that had been buried for a reason.
Ooh, like, what's that big thing in Subnautica? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, like a similar idea.
Yeah.
So we get something like that going on. And they're going to realize, basically, like, it's not just the Kraken. Like, maybe you get, like, the Leviathan.
That's it.
You get, yes.
Yeah, that's it.
The Leviathan. The sea snakes. So then I've titled this... tentatively, The Siren's Heart. Just a little something.
Ooh.
I was in the lab cooking.
Okay.
And that's going to be the item / kind of thing that they have to get that allows them to have control over these mystical creatures. Something like that.
Okay.
So it will allow them to be able to do these things. But when you go back, when they start like realizing this, they start to go back. There's like little things that keep happening and popping up where Davy's like springing these little things at them. So it's like he's very calculated, but like it's one of those things where he's doing it intentionally to not kill them. It's just to tease them because he wants to kill Jack himself.
So is he back, or is it like a spirit?
No, he's back,
Oh, he's
100%.
back. Okay,
He's just kind of like lurking.
I see.
So it's like he intentionally is not killing off Jack now, like because he wants to do it face to face.
I like this.
But he starts to realize that maybe Jack is gonna stop him. So you get these little teases. And then right when they get to like the point of like finally catching the thing, the pirate lords come back. And the reason that they're coming back is because they realize that killing Jack will be the thing that brings balance to the ocean because now Davy Jones is happy.
Okay.
So they're trying to get after him. So you get this cool scene where they're getting the thing, they get the siren's heart, they start going off, the pirate lords are fighting them, Davy Jones finally pulls up. We get a flashback kind of thing to like the third one.
What is he riding in? Because he doesn't have the.
I know. We'll have to figure that part out, but
Yeah.
he'll get something. He'll get something really cool. Maybe he's just riding the Kraken.
We haven't dealt with like a ghost ship yet.
Yeah.
We've dealt with like a ship with a ghost. We haven't done a ghost ship yet. That'd be kind of cool.
But anyway, I would just have them do like a big three-way battle. You get
Yeah.
the three kind of going all around.
Dude, that'd be sick.
Something like that. Yeah.
Because that's a big thing with that World's End is all these ships are in the background, but none of them engage.
Right. That's why I want like just a big like fleet, fleet of pirates, big fleet of Davy Jones, and then just like the Black Pearl.
Oh, that'd be.
And
sweet.
you just like don't know how they're gonna get out of it.
That's cool.
And I want a happy ending for Jack. I also think like for the movie, like Will and Elizabeth don't have to have like a huge part because I felt like their whole story was told in the first three. Like I want them to be big characters. Like I don't mean that.
Sure.
But they don't need to have many arcs to it.
Yeah, I
Like-
can't think of what they would do with Elizabeth. I think you could do a lot with the cool like mental stuff with Will.
You could. I really want the movie to be focused around Jack and have that whole level of Jack is smart, he's calculated, he's still like chaotic as all can be, but he knows what he's doing. And I want that Jack back, and I want this to be all centered around him and like whatever cool arcs that they can do through it, like yes, but I don't want it to be anything that's like not already a thing. Like I don't want them to come up with something, oh, he's just a lazy slob again like they did in 4. Like I want this to be something that's like been already part of it, like
Him
to
being
tie
the
it
Pirate
together.
King is a great idea.
Yes.
That's like the perfect place I can
Yeah.
imagine him going after the events of 5.
So
perfect.
that's all I had. But
That's sweet, dude. So how does it end? How does Davy Jones get? What's the resolution here?
he's gone.
Okay.
He's gone.
Okay.
And
Definitively.
again, definitively, and I'll say it. This should be the last movie in the whole franchise. Mm-hmm. With and that's marketed as that Jack's last ride.
Yeah.
And I want them to make people think that he's going to die, and then he doesn't. I want a happy end for him. I think he needs that. I usually love sacrifice, but I think he needs that. So that's my.
I like it, dude.
Well, drop
That's
it on the
sweet.
desk of Disney.
Murky Waters.
Murky Waters.
Take it or leave it.
Come on, right? You see what I'm saying?
Take it or take it.
Give and a take. No, just a take.
Take it or take it. I like that, dude.
Okay.
That was sweet.
All right, yeah.
That was
what-
sweet.
do you- I know. Sorry, that was
So
so
how do
long.
here are we just ignoring Will's son and like Karina, or are we finding a use for them, or what are we doing?
Will's son, we can talk about. Karina, we're all good here. We're all good here.
We're all good here. We got thin air. We're good, Karina.
I think they could do something cool with Will's son.
Yeah, I loved his character.
Yeah.
Karina can kick rocks. Kick rocks. I was not a fan.
So what do you think about the 6th?
I think similar to Rise of Skywalker bringing back Palpatine, like if you have like a great villain, maybe if you're going to bring them, if you have to bring them back, maybe taking a different edge or a different angle, I'm sorry, is the way to go. And I think you touching on potentially making Davy Jones for a majority of the movie almost like a phantom is a really bright idea. I think like in 5 they touch, oh, these are ghost pirates, but no they're not, because
Yeah.
If you can knuckle touch him, he's not a ghost. I don't know. Like I feel like a true, authentic, like ghost pirate would be sick. Because what are you gonna do? How are you gonna defeat a ghost pirate in a ghost ship? Like that would be sweet, dude. And they could bring back like the horror elements to pirates that haven't been there since, like you were saying, 2. There's like a real fear factor with Davy Jones if you play him right. And dude, the Leviathan, there's so much in the ocean that hasn't been discovered or touched on, even in real life, let alone in these movies. Like, there's so many stories and tall tales that they could like dig into for this, and like you were saying, if you were to bring back like different like things like old spirits and old like the ghost ship idea, the ghost thing is, I would go that route. Even if Davy Jones comes back and goes away again like a phantom, even if he's not actually totally back, like if he is just an overarching like evil presence for Will, like a psychological thing for him to overcome, or Jack, like that would be really cool. And then that would allow you to touch on more of the conflict between Jack and the other pirate lords in the midst of a world that is leaving them behind. The pirate way is being like forgotten about or killed off. You have the East India Trading Company. You have like different militant fleets. You have the British, the Spanish. There's like all these different elements that could be endangering pirates, and like they could be headed towards like their extinction. Like there's a lot of stuff you could touch on. Again, I don't know how you address Elizabeth, because I really think her best use was 1 through 3. I would love for her to be there, but if it really was just bringing back Will, I think there's a real story to tell there with Will having his curse be broken, but also now that he's back and the spirit's broken, and the curse is broken, like no one's there to usher dead souls to the afterlife. So even if it was like, whether it was like Will abandoning his post, like comes back to haunt him, or like the necessity for there being somebody to ferry people to the afterlife, like something. Even if it is just like an overwhelming guilt, like he has PTSD, I don't know, you could do something. Again, it's pirates, so you want it to be fun. You don't want it to be like a psychological study. Like, it's not that type of movie. But again, like, I think that 1 through 3 really was able to dig into like more serious tone.
Yeah. 100%.
And you could totally do that with like a mental. Maybe Davy Jones isn't totally back, but like his spirit's alive or something. You could do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you could handle Elizabeth a little bit by having her maybe be a bit in the beginning, maybe have her be a little out of it, and then maybe she gets like her own cool moment where she gets to be like, not a whole like pirate queen thing, but she gets like a moment where she's almost like the captain of her own little ship.
Well, what's interesting,
and she comes in to like help.
That's what's interesting to me, is because at the end of 3, it's almost implied, and even 5 with her still being on the island, it's implied that she stayed on the island that whole time. But Will is the only one with the curse. There's nothing keeping Elizabeth from leaving. And also, she was the pirate king at the end of 3. So, does that almost necessitate her, like, does that almost give her a duty to, like, go out and... So maybe for the last 20 years, Elizabeth's been doing stuff.
Yeah.
And she just happened to be back on the island when Will returned, because she knew it was the anniversary coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could do... I mean, again, maybe there are stories and we just don't realize, because I'm thinking 2 in the box. But I
they could kind of play with it if they want to, which is good.
Yeah. I definitely think Ghost Pirate, like Ghost Pirate, is the way to go. Like total Phantom.
I think that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
I think the main things to take away, I need more action on the sea. They have totally missed that in 4 and 5.
It's a pirates movie.
There's barely any time
driving
that they're
around
actually
in horse and buggy.
Yeah, it's crazy. We need that, and we just need Jack to be back to himself. I think everything else can kind of be a bit more like interchangeable. I think there's a lot of cool things they can do with people and like Will, but the main problem is what's making people pay to show up is Jack.
Yeah, it's Johnny Depp.
So,
and the idea of Johnny Depp getting his second chance in Hollywood and like him making his triumphant return, like you want a movie that justifies his comeback. You don't want him to come back to like a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. No, you don't. And I think the appetite for fans is still very much there. I looked this up a little bit because I had thought this in my mind. I was like, I want to make sure this is true. If you think about it, like, there's not really many pirate movies just across the movie industry at all.
No, this is it.
This is pretty much
There's a couple shows.
Yeah, a couple, like, one-off things. But especially when you factor in that the last, like, good movie for this came out in 2008, I think. Then 2011 and 2017. But still, even at 2017...
7, dude.
Oh, 7?
7, yeah.
But even 2017, like, for a franchise, like, that's a long time ago from now. And by the time they'd actually get it in production and going, like, that's a good amount of time that I think there's going to be enough of an audience to show up just to see Johnny Depp back.
Yeah,
and
dude.
because there's been just a void of it. And if you market it around being the final thing, I think that's enough. That like this could do really well.
Yeah. Yep. He's not getting any younger either. He's like 61 or something.
So this is the
like
last
we go.
bit.
Yeah, we gotta make this
do
happen.
it now. Yeah. 100%.
It would just be so cool, dude.
It would.
And to get like, imagine like just the announcement breaks, like Hans Zimmer has agreed to like compose.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my goodness, dude! Oh my goodness!
We might faint in the theater.
I will be Soups.
You will.
Shout out Soups. Man.
All right, so I just wanted to transition a little bit. We have a new segment we're going to be starting now, and we're hoping to do this maybe every month. I know we want to do this again after Fantastic Four and Superman drops, just to be able to get hot takes from the people. Yeah. So we posted a video. We got a few people to submit some stuff.
Yeah, thank you for your suggestions, by the way. These are
so we sorted through them, and we found a couple good ones that we wanted to talk about today.
Mm-hmm. This segment, you came up with this, by the way. You shot me a text the other day. You were like, I think we need to do like a hot take segment.
Yes.
And you said, what do you think of this? You said, burn it or back it.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
So this is what we're doing.
The segment is officially titled Burn It or Back It. We've got these cards that your lovely girlfriend, my sister, put together. So you'll read the hot take. We'll either say, we burn it, we back it.
Yes.
And then we'll expand upon it.
Yes.
We don't have a card for that.
No, we don't. We don't.
And this is all coming off the heels. You and I are both loyal listeners of our friends over at the Escape Pod.
Yes.
We both listen every week to the Escape Pod. And this is kind of, you know what, let's give a shout out. Credit where credit's due. I feel the Escape Pod guys are pioneers in the space of social media here. I think there's a lot of people who would love to just like start up a podcast and have the means to just like talk movies every week with their boys. And I feel like they like paved the way to make it happen. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
They like gave the formula a little bit.
Totally.
It's just two guys sitting at a table talking. And that's what it's all about.
Right. I've been watching them do the hot takes for years, so it's really cool to be able to have our own
And there's been some egregious hot takes. There's been some insane takes.
Which we would love to discuss if you, if you ever want to collab. So a little...
Hey. Well, Alex followed me on Letterboxd.
Yes, dude.
Which was enormous.
See, this is the bridge.
You and I are sitting in church, and he follows me at the... Your dad's the pastor. I'm like... Stop talking.
We had to stop.
Stop talking. So this is huge.
Yes.
So we're one step closer to the collab.
Yes,
If the Escape Pod boys ever want to collab,
we're here.
the futon fits 4.
All right.
That being said, let's get
into the first take.
Yeah.
All right. So, these are direct quotes, by the way. The Star Wars prequel trilogy was great, and Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie. Do you want to do a little countdown here?
The prequel trilogy is great or good and
yes.
What? Say it again. I had to process all that.
All right, let me read it again. The Star Wars prequel trilogy was great, and Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie.
Okay.
Do you want to do a little countdown and try and hide those so we can do a direct reaction? You ready?
Let me ask you this because I'm going to be technical. I'm going to be annoying. If there's ever a situation where it's like a multi-layered take like this...
It is a multi-layered take.
And you agree with one thing but disagree with the other.
You have to lump the whole take, in my opinion.
Okay. So you have to make sacrifices.
You have to make sacrifices. You can clarify.
Okay. All right.
You ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
I'm backing it.
You're backing it.
I'm backing it.
I'm surprised you're backing it.
I'm going to back that. I'm going to back that. You start.
I'm actually very surprised to hear you say you're going to back that.
Well, there was part of it that I was going to burn. But
I think we're both going to agree on the same take because I know we have this.
Mm-hmm.
We both are huge Revenge of the Sith guys. Saying that that's the greatest Star Wars movie is the easiest smash ever.
Understatement.
Yes, I 100% back that. Mm-hmm. And I know exactly what your caveat is with the first two movies, and that's where you have to...
It's not a great trilogy, but that's Revenge is just so perfect.
Yes. Yeah. My argument would be this. I think the problems with the opening trilogy are more pacing, and it can kind of drag a little bit at points.
Yeah.
And I would say 100% if you start watching The Phantom Menace, I totally get why that would be boring to you. And I think the good thing about the trilogy as a whole is there are so many classic moments from Star Wars that all extend from those 3 movies. And I know that doesn't cover up everything, but to me it covers up enough to say that they are great. Mm-hmm. I think if you just count through them all, I mean, you've got things like Duel of Fates, you have Order 66, Anakin versus Obi-Wan, the Battle of Geonosis, and of course, the best scene, Anakin hating sand. The whole Anakin Padme romance. Foundational.
We grew up on that.
And just tying in those movies being kind of the catalyst for potentially my favorite show of all time, The Clone Wars. I grew up on that, and I love that show to death. So I think it all just ties together to be enough to say, you know what? It is great.
And that show wouldn't be exactly what it is if those movies weren't exactly what they were.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I get the mixed little opinions here and there with I mean the beginning of Attack of the Clones is a little tough. I get it. And I've always said with the acting, and I think this is because I'm a Star Wars nerd with this, the acting doesn't bother me because that's just how I perceive like Anakin to be.
Right. So
that's how it always made sense to me. And I'm sure I'm saying that though, and if I was anybody else coming in freshly, I would be like, what is this? It's terrible. So I get it.
Right.
But to me it works. I don't know if you had
I grew up on Phantom Menace. That was like huge. I grew up playing like the complete saga Lego game, and that was like Phantom Menace. Like I just remember like the Duel of the Fates levels and the pod racing. I just remember playing the pod racing level over and over again. Attack of the Clones, I never like. I always was more crazy for the lore around Attack of the Clones than I was the actual movie. I hated the movie growing up, but I always loved Yoda versus Dooku. I loved Kenobi in that movie, and Jango Fett. I loved Jango Fett. And obviously the clones, like you can't go wrong. I have been a big, I have long. You can advocate for this. I have long since been preaching from my soapbox that Attack of the Clones should have started at the Battle of Geonosis.
Yes.
It should have started at the Battle of Geonosis so that the final hour and a half is like the opening moments of the Clone Wars. And you could really watch the galaxy like unravel when Palpatine's pulling the strings and everything behind the scenes.
Yes.
And that way when Palpatine finally gets his get back in revenge, you're like, oh gosh, like it just adds to it, you know what I mean? I think they dragged a little bit where they didn't need to. And I just think a trilogy is often only as good as its ending, and I think Revenge of the Sith sticks it so perfectly that you can negate a lot of the crap that you have to, wade through to get to the end.
Totally. It's the same thing as what we were just talking about with World's End.
Right.
It just hits so hard that it's just so good.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies of all time, so I totally buy that about Revenge of the Sith being the best.
Sweet.
All right.
What do we got?
Second, Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man, and Tom Holland is number 2.
Wow, which goes without saying. But that would imply Tobey is the worst.
Yes.
Okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Really? Okay.
I'm back.
You're back in this.
Andrew is again.
You're back in this.
My goat. Andrew is my goat.
Okay, so I'm actually really excited to talk about this. Okay, so what would you put your order at? When I saw this hot take,
why don't you say your order first so that
happy.
I can burn it to the ground?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to shock a lot of people with my ordering here.
Okay.
I think people are going to disagree or think I disagreed because of a specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree that Tobey's the worst. My ranking:
You serious?
Tom, Andrew, Tobey.
Tom
is number 1. I'll stand by it.
Can you give your reason?
I'll stand by it.
What's your reason? What's your reasoning?
So let me start off.
Please.
Tobey, let's make this very clear, has the best moments as Spider-Man. He has the most Spider-Man moments. Like one-off just like moments.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Tobey? You serious? Come on.
Spider-Man 2 is awesome.
It's awesome.
I don't know if he has the best...
You don't think so? Who do you think has an overall? Like, when I was going through it, the main... I guess I don't want to say too much about that ahead of it, when I talk about Tom. But, I mean, right? I mean, how many moments, like, from Spider-Man that you, like, look back on? Like, a lot of them, to me, come from Tobey, in my opinion. You disagree?
I don't think I've ever seen a more Spider-Man on screen than Andrew in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay. My problem is
I disagree.
My problem is I hate TASM 2.
Oh my god,
dude, that movie is. It's not good. It's not good. And I'm sorry, but Andrew is so way too like cool for the job kind of thing. He is not. He's
like even just as Peter or something?
Yeah, like the dude is amazingly cool. If I were to just take the movie straight up and I'd go, who's the coolest actor of all? Well, I'll say Andrew's the best actor of the three.
Yes,
100%.
Absolutely.
He's just as an actor, he's the best. But he's so cool. First off, as the Peter side of it, he comes in, he rolls up on his skateboard, he goes and gets the girl he wants in a second. He is so cool, dude. He beats his bullies. He dunks on them. Like, literally dunks on them.
Yeah.
He has zero problems. Like, zero problems. Like, the only thing that's his issue is just the fact that he needs to overcome the odds and win. Like, that's the only problem he has is facing the villain. Toby.
He loses so much in those movies, though.
Well, yeah, at the end of 2. But that's not, like, a problem you thought was a problem until it happened. You know what I mean? Like, I get, like that part, of course, like, makes me so upset.
Weep.
I do.
Man tears. Enormous, salty man tears.
I do. But he's... I don't know. Like, he does it for me. Like, don't get me wrong. And I think he's the second best. But I just don't think, as Spider-Man, I think he... altogether does not fit the package of Spider-Man as much. Like, he just does not fit Peter at all. Like, I do not believe for one second that this dude is like anything other than just the coolest dude ever.
Right. I get that.
And I think that's his problem.
Okay.
And so that's then where I tie into the opposite end, where Toby, I hate to say it because he is the GOAT. We love him.
He's the GOAT of number 3.
The GOAT of being last place. He's just way too weird for me, man. He is so weird.
Cornball.
Like, he is. He's hard to relate to. Like, you almost like have a hard time. Like, there's points in all 3 movies. I mean, Spider-Man 2 is great in itself. 1 and 3 though, but there's a plenty of times where you're like a little like,
yeah,
like not in like a, oh, you feel bad for like oh, like I'm a little nervous to keep him around my children kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I don't know. He just seems like a bit of a creep. No, like maybe I'm being off. And I think he has cool moments, but I think it's just his acting and portrayal of Spider-Man. Like, I think it works because the movies are great, but I think because he's the first, but I just don't think he's the best portrayal at all. Like, of the 3.
Okay.
Whereas is he your 3?
And then explain Tom to me.
So he's your 3 as well.
Well, explain Tom to me.
All right, Tom. Let's address this. The movies are not the best. Let's just get the knocks out of the way. The movies are not. Well, I don't know. That's a tough position, but the movies suffer.
They're
I
not
guess.
the best.
No. Let me retract. I'm retracting again. Pulling it back.
Don't bother. I agree.
The movies suffer because he is not the only person in them all the time. Like, almost every single story he's had has been involving other people.
Right. He's needed somebody else to get the job done.
Right. Like, it's Iron Man in the first one. But I think the thing that separates him is I think he's the best balance of the 2. He's nerdy, but he's not, like, obscenely weird. He has a lot of other struggles that I think that the other 2 Spider-Man don't have. Like, he's got a lot more depth, I think, to the character, being he has big shoes to fill. And he's had these opportunities like crazy. He tries to go into he gets recruited into the Avengers is the first time we see him in Civil War. And then all of a sudden he puts it back and he says he doesn't want it. And he's got those shoes to fill of Iron Man. I think there's just so many situations for him where you see a much better arc of man, this is like a real kid. Like, he's very relatable. He's so cool. And I would say, I know you're going to disagree and say it's Andrew. I think he does the best as far as like quippiness, like back. Like,
really?
I think so. I think he's...
Wow.
Yeah, I do.
You got examples?
No, I didn't. Well, not like direct. Like, I'm not just going to whip out a list. It's more of a feels thing.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since I've watched him.
The energy he puts into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He just gives me that. So now I want you to go ahead and burn my take to the ground.
Andrew, to me, is the best. Do I buy that somebody that looks like Andrew's Peter could get bullied? No.
Exactly. That's the problem. He's so cool.
He's cool. He skateboards. He's like
awesome.
good at photography. He's smart, but like the last time like intelligence was like a reason to bully somebody, like that's not just it's not even a thing anymore. So like I understand what you're saying about like in terms of like his Peter portrayal, but there are Spider-Man iterations where he's just like a cool dude. He's like bearded and he's like got like a Peter's like he knows what he's doing. So to me, is it the traditional Spider-Man vibe? No. I always compared him more to like the Ultimate Spider-Man. Where it's more like, I think that's where they took inspiration for like Electro being like blue instead of yellow with the lightning bolt shooting out of the face, and like I just feel his portrayal as Spider-Man it's literally J. Jonah Jameson from the Raimi trilogy like ripped from the comics. Like it's so perfect. His wittiness, the way he moves, like when he's fighting the lizard in the high school, and he's like webbing him up, and he's like crawling around lizard, and even in like the slow mo scenes with like Electro, when he's like the spider sense, they really like do a great job with the spider sense in those movies, where he's like tackling 8 things at once, he's like dodging things and flipping around, like it's just I feel like whenever the mask goes on, it's just perfect, and I adore the dynamic between him and Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy. I think it's
it's incredible.
Totally perfect. And for me, I think that the emotional stake that's added with the way Andrew Garfield can sell like relationship in those movies, the way he cares for Aunt May and Gwen, and even like Gwen's dad, to me, like the relationships within those movies make up for the lack of believability that's there, like behind Andrew actually being like a nerd, like a nerd, like a stereotypical nerd. That said, I think like with those movies, like the stuff with the parents is forced. I get it, but I feel like Andrew is not the problem with those movies. He's
interesting.
I think he's the best.
Okay.
I think Toby's number 2.
You have Tom 3.
Tom.
Oh my gosh.
At the bottom of the list.
Let me tell you something. You only have Toby at 2 because of nostalgia. That's it.
I do.
Oh, you just admit it. Okay.
I'll admit it. I'll own up. I'll stand up.
Okay.
If I wasn't about to step out of the frame, I'd stand up and own up to it. 2 hands up.
Okay. Explain.
Toby, Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie. Do I think Andrew's the best Spider-Man? Yes.
Do you think it's better than No Way Home?
Yes.
Or are you saying like classic Spider-Man? Because I get No Way Home's a little bit of like a...
I'd say No Way Home might be the best Spider-Man movie, but Spider-Man 2 is the best like standalone Spider-Man story that's ever been on screen.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's the quintessential. If somebody says, show me a Spider-Man movie, that's the one I'm going to first. Yeah. You're not going to show them No Way Home. It makes no sense unless you've seen 7 other movies.
That's a good point.
But I'm 100% going with Spider-Man 2. It's just like the perfect de facto Spider-Man movie. I feel Tobey sells Peter better than any other actor that's ever played Spider-Man. I think he just sells like he's the only one that I could totally believe would like I'd walk by him in high school and I'd see him getting a wedgie and I'd be like, it makes sense.
That's true.
Like it makes sense.
That's a good point.
I get it.
That's a good point.
Like and I'm not even saying that like I'd bully him. I'm just saying like he's the one that like if you had to go in a group of guys and be like, which one of you guys grew up getting bullied, it'd be like him. And however, he plays it so well that when the Spider-Man mask goes on, I don't buy him that much as Spider-Man. I think he's had some of the best moments, like you said. I do understand that take, like with the train, all the stuff with Doc Ock.
Yeah,
the stuff with like all the web swinging is
the most
perfect.
Classic ones. Yeah.
Even the stuff with like Sandman. And I love how in those movies he uses like their weaknesses against them with Sandman and like water and stuff. Like it's cool. I just buy him so much as Peter. I love his dynamic with Aunt May. It just feels like he's the guy you root for, like when the mask is off.
Really? See,
I think so.
I don't get that at all.
No, Tom, I feel has just been way too dependent on everybody else, and
but that's not his fault, though.
No,
we're talking about the movies are the ones doing the disservice there. Like,
Yeah.
the depiction of Spider-Man in those movies, though, I don't have a problem.
And 4 was announced, and I was like, finally, like, Iron Man's
I
freaking
know.
dead. Like, the Spider-Men are back in their universe. Like, there's no ties. Nobody
I know.
remembers them. We're going to get our movie. And now you hear they're filming in, like, Prague or whatever, and he's going to be in the desert. Spider-Man's going to be in the desert. Oh,
And,
good.
oh, and here's Hulk.
And here's Hulk, and here's Punisher.
I know.
And I just am kind of like... I don't know. Like, in my head, I was like, this is the chance. Get me to care about Tom. Get me to put him at the top. And they're again, he needs to depend on other people to get his movie. Like, I feel like, why are they acting like Tom Holland isn't a big enough name that, like, they need John Bernthal as Punisher to get butts in seats?
I don't get it. He's easily the biggest name. No, I won't say that. He's one of the biggest names in Marvel right now.
He's one of the
biggest draws.
He's enough to get
Yeah.
butts in seats.
Yeah.
Tom Holland, I think, is big enough as Spider-Man now that that movie's going to make $1 billion, whether all these other multiversal characters are in there or not.
Let me correct. I think Spider-Man and Tom Holland's fine and like good as Spider-Man. So I think Spider-Man is a big enough thing that it's, other than Avengers, it's the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you call that? Just title name.
Yeah.
That could get anything.
Yeah, it's the biggest IP they have going for them right now. I just don't know why Marvel's treating Tom... And again, I'm not knocking Tom. I'm saying the way Marvel has conducted this character, you're going to have a Chris Hemsworth situation where it's like he's grateful for the character, but he doesn't want to play him forever. And, like, I just dread the day where Tom Holland hangs it up and we don't have a single story where he's just on his own. Mm-hmm. Because, like...
Well, they're doing a trilogy, right?
That's
4,
what
5,
they
6,
said.
So.
But you gotta believe that with these rumors of them introducing Miles down the road, like at the end of 6, he might hand it off. Like, he's not going to be around forever. It's going to be, the torch is going to be passed off.
Yeah, we say that, but then here's Toby, right?
Yeah,
and,
I guess.
And if they're doing 6 of them, I think by the time they do 6, we'll be like, all right,
right,
we're ready for something.
But aren't you worried about saying that and him not having his own story that you can be like, that's his like definitive Spider-Man movie?
Here's where I think it'll be fine.
He went 20 years and he couldn't just do his own thing.
Let's see what happens in 4, because if he's doing everything himself, because there's still a chance that even if big names are in it, he's doing it himself. Mm-hmm. Right? If Hulk's like actually entirely just a villain the whole time,
that is true.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, I just don't.
If he beats Hulk, I mean, that's a pretty big.
Right. I don't mind if he's there. I just don't want it to feel like he's only there.
Yeah.
Like
to boost the stock of the movie.
Right.
I really do wonder what this conversation could look like maybe in a few years when we do have more things from Tom Holland. Because he will have had a lot more screen time than them. So I don't know how that impacts it for you, because we've seen him now in the Avengers movies. We'll have seen him in 4 of his own, maybe a 5th.
I feel like he should be the most fleshed out of all 3.
Yeah, right.
I don't know.
But we do have one more.
Oh.
Hot take. Got your cards?
I got him.
Okay.
Locking in.
There hasn't been a movie franchise to end their main story and do a direct continuation that is good. It's very interesting.
What is a franchise?
No caveats. Franchise is
anything with a sequel?
Pretty much. I think you kind of know when it's a franchise. I would say anything that like it feels like they're trying to just keep a story going. Like it wasn't. I don't know. I would say anything that goes beyond like a straight up one-off movie is a franchise.
Okay.
It's just, it gets hairy with movies, with things like Top Gun, where it's like there's just 2 of them. But
right.
Anyway, all right.
Okay, right?
Yep. 3, 2, 1. Burning it.
I'm burning.
Okay, you're
burning. We're setting fire to the rain here.
I would love to hear you tell me which ones have continued well.
Mission Impossible. 007. 007 is a huge one, dude, because they'll have a guy. Yeah. They'll go away for like half a decade, and then they'll come back with a totally different guy, and it's just as good, if not better.
Can I throw a caveat?
Yep.
Especially at the Mission Impossible thing?
Yep.
Mission Impossible it feels like the least franchise to me. There is almost no continuity between stories. That like, yeah, but I think what I would say is more like the point is like when you're building towards something and then you finish that story, you go to the next.
Maybe
like,
that's the key though.
I get it, yeah. But like I almost think that's why though those movies can't be obscenely highly rated.
Okay.
Because they don't have that ceiling.
Okay.
But I see what you're saying.
I don't know. I
And
want
you're
to.
right.
Well, I want to say maybe that's the key, but then you have like Pirates doing something different with 4 and 5, and they suck.
Yeah, you're right though. I mean, Mission Impossible is one of those where like it feels like it progressively gets better, mostly.
And I was going to say Top Gun, but that is only
Yeah.
2 movies, so I don't know.
I would count it. I'd say.
007 is just a huge
Okay.
one. And I don't think like the Hobbit movies are on par with Lord of the Rings, of course. Several steps below.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still better than any other adventure thing that's out there. Like they're still like great adventure
Okay.
movies. So maybe Lord of the Rings, I don't know. It's just but there's a drop in quality.
Right.
But
And
that was a story that deserved to be told.
Yeah, and you know what? He does say continuation that's good, not as good as
Right.
what it was coming
Serviceable
from. So that's
continuation.
Fair. That's fair. I still just think though, like across the board, I was trying to think through ones in my mind. So I have a little thing. Like I was just thinking through Star Wars sequels. Stink.
Horrible.
I would say like with the trilogy of Toy Story, like I love Toy Story 3, and then like 4 and 5 coming out too. Like I don't know. You've got
I have a
Pirates. I would say Indiana Jones, Marvel, pretty much. One I would say I don't know if this counts really. One that I did like. The only thing I could really think of, which I see your points.
Mhm.
I see your points. I could think of like the Creed coming from the Rocky movies, but again, it's like it's pretty separate. So I don't know if you can really count that. You know what I mean? It's the same sphere, but
And 2 and 3 were good, but do you have like the same regard for them as you did 1? Creed 1.
no.
Creed 1 was like
No.
crazy good.
Yeah.
Like Top Gun Maverick level sequel.
Well, I was almost taking it from like Rocky to Creed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is the continuation.
Right.
But
Oh, I see.
you know what I mean?
Like the overarching stories.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right. Like I feel like I'm not. It's not my favorite movies, but I enjoy those a lot.
Trying to think of other franchises.
Right. That's the problem. Like, definitely. I mean, you're a big Indiana Jones guy. Would you say?
Huge.
You'd say it's definitely drop in your opinion.
I'm not as low on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull as a lot of people are. I think that's a great movie. 5
I know a lot of people don't, but
5 was it was good. It was okay. It was good. It didn't feel like the ending Indiana deserved necessarily. It just felt too safe. Like you hear a story, there were like reshoots and stuff, and they like chopped it up. It's a very distinguishable drop off. 1 and 3 are 10 out of 10 in my eyes. Temple of Doom, I'm gonna say is like a 7 out of 10. Same with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, honestly, and I would wager that nobody agrees with me on that.
I was gonna say.
But I grew up, again, it's a Phantom Menace thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's objectively not the best movie, but like I grew up with it. Like that was my Indiana Jones movie growing up. Like it came out 2008. I was 7 years old. You watch that movie to death because it's Indiana Jones, and you grew up. Your dad loved Indiana Jones, and now you have your Indiana Jones. You just watch it. So I love that movie. But yeah, that was my rant. But yes, all that to say, yes, there is a drop off in quality with Indiana Jones.
Okay. I just maybe I'm taking it a step further than the comment was taking it. I just think that very rarely, I think the problem, again, with what we talked about is the franchises are just trying to milk the pony as long as they can.
Of course.
And they're just trying to keep it going. And they design it around one story, and then that's the story. So it just feels like whatever they're going to come up with next was not even really in the original design to me. And I think that's pretty universal across the board.
Yeah.
And I think that's especially for like one-off stories. I think where it can differ for me, and I know I'm wearing the shirt, so I'm gonna have to pander a little bit.
This is a sweet shirt, by the way. That's cool.
I do think for a thing like Marvel, where you've got comics, I don't think that has to be the highest end, because comics are just so constantly flowing. Like there's so many stories to be told that I feel like it doesn't have to be the peak. Right? Like, I know that's a tough thing that they're going to have to figure out. But at the same time, as cool as Endgame is for its moments, like, the story's still a little all over. Like there's a lot going on in Endgame. And I'd say in some ways, like, there was ways it could have been a lot tighter and cleaned up in Endgame.
Yeah.
So I think there's still more to be, like, had there. Like, I think they still can do that. I know it doesn't look like it right now, but I think it's still there. All that to say, I think there's an ability for stories to, but I just think for the most part, franchises almost always fall off like the second they hit their main point objective. I don't know. I mean, you see that exactly with Star Wars. Like, you try and branch off. It's like too many times people try and make stories a universe when it's just a story.
It's knowing when to cut it off.
Right. Yeah. So I would back the take.
So it's interesting then, because I think maybe then my opinion would be: do I think franchises go on longer than they need to? Yes, but do I think that means all of them are terrible for doing so? No.
Okay.
I think that would be my final take.
Okay. Yeah.
Do I think regardless of, are there great 007 movies? Yeah, but I don't think there really should have been one after Skyfall. Yeah, so maybe that's my... Yeah, maybe I'll kind of side with you a little bit more. You might have sold me.
Okay. All right. Well, we want to continue doing more hot takes in the future.
Yes.
I know with July, we have a lot coming up.
Oh, my gosh.
Just with things going on. We also have a lot that we want to talk about. So we're going to be doing a lot, so you want to be around for the ride. We have Jurassic Park again, like you said. Superman, Fantastic Four. So I think we're going to be doing, at the end, more hot takes based off your opinions of Superman and Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So that's going to be awesome.
The next couple episodes are going to be movie review specific.
Pretty much.
Like our next episode, I believe, is going to be a Jurassic World review, right?
Yeah. Right. Okay. Little Independence Day.
Sweet.
Jurassic Park reveal. So we're going to want those coming.
Oh, baby.
Do you have any things for the people?
Man, as always, we're growing. This is like the most exciting thing. We're finally seeing growth. It sounds like a little thing, but it's a lot to us because we made a distinct point. Josh and I agreed when we started this to not tell anybody that we were starting it.
Yeah.
So to see like the TikTok cross over 100 followers and 2,000 likes, and the YouTube to cross over, even if it is just 25 subscribers.
Yeah.
Like these are 25 people that have no idea who we are and like. Enjoyed what we're talking about enough to like follow. It's just cool.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you guys for following and for liking and supporting. Keep doing that because it helps us to know what you want us to talk about. And follow us on all of our socials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as always, the goose knows what you did.